Pedal Mom, that's right, Pedal Mom, with the first in this new series. I'm going to do all about pedals, and I thought, what a perfect way to start off the whole thing than to present this little thing. It's my prototype for the very first Frantone pedal, all made out of Radio Shack parts. I've talked about this a lot in lectures, and I've done, articles and everything talking about how I came up with the first pedal and everything. Well, this is the one. So, all, like I said, I went to Radio Shack, bought all the parts, and I'm going to open it up and show you. Inside, it's all Radio Shack through and through. Even the toggle switch it doesn't have a fancy foot snap switch because couldn't really get those in those days. I mean, that would be a special order item, and at the time I didn't have the electronics catalogs and industry contacts and stuff like that. It was just, whatever they had in the shack went into making the first prototype for the Fuzzywuzzy. Let's take a look at it close up. Alright, here it is. The original prototype, Fuzzywuzzy. Those of you who were frequent visitors to the Radio Shack parts aisles will recognize all of this. The blue plastic case and the blue tipped knobs. I pretty much bought all these parts at Radio Shack, including the switch. I sort of engraved it with my Weller soldering iron and then just filled it in with paint. I'm not sure the last time I opened this, but it's got some heft to it, so I know that I left the battery in it. Boy. Yep. Alright. Yep, it's got a battery in it. Yeah, it sure does. Ooh, it's got that Radio Shack smell, that's for sure. The first thing I'm going to do is remove that battery. It definitely leaked out. I did note that was a Radio Shack battery, too. It's the underneath the tape, it was a Radio Shack brand battery. So it's obviously the original one. Alright. It's up here. Okay. Well, that's a nice mess, huh? That's what a prototype looks like. Pretty much. Yep, all Radio Shack parts. Anybody who ever worked with vintage telephone stuff will recognize that. That's the old school 4-wire telephone cable, solid core, and I used to use that for everything. I think I had a really big roll of that. I guess I left that little bit of outer insulation on just to bundle it so that it would be a little more neat and tidy, but I used to use this solid core telephone wire for prototyping and everything. It was great. Some more. Yep, telephone. Yep, 4-wire. Yeah, you get the color-coded wires. You get a red and a black and yellow and green. Made it real easy to run anything, signals and power and everything. Alpha pots, also from Radio Shack. I've always used alpha pots, half watts. Poly caps, I always liked the metal film caps or the dipped poly caps. And in there's a couple of LM386s. Those are probably N1s, which is typically what I used. LM386N1. Again, a Radio Shack perf board too. Recognize that catalog number. So yeah, 100% Radio Shack build. Looks like I had a trimmer in there for, so I could vary a value in there for, tone purposes. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same circuit that became the Hepcat. In the early days, I didn't have a lot of front-end protection. Actually, I think in the early days, I didn't have any front-end protection. It's like the signal just went right into the chip, which sounded great, but the chips would tend to blow up in the real world because of static, plugging in the effect to an amplifier and environmental stuff. I'd find that without any kind of like protection on the front end, it would be problematic on the first stage longevity, so I ended up having to put, buffering capacitors and resistor networks and such to drop down the signal. It didn't sound as good. I think honestly the 386 sounded better being driven like raw right from the guitar, but like I said, there were just too many problems with static discharge and voltage spikes and stuff like that. So as time went on, I had more and more protection in the front end to protect the circuitry from plugging the effect into just about anything. My standard soldering technique. Again, that Radio Shack breadboard, used it a lot. And the LED, I just, this was another thing that I've pretty much always done, before I started using the bezels. Just glue the LED right in the case, and there you go. And you see the dropping resistor right there. It's a 1.5K, it looks like, which is my typical value for 9 volts down to LED. So, yep. Like I said, the half-watt alphas, I always use the half-watt alphas. People might say, oh, why use such cheap pots? But no, I mean, alphas are very reliable. I've always used the half-watt alphas. The cost to quality usually can't be beat. I don't think I've ever had a failure, so there you go. That's it. That's the prototype for the First Frantone pedal. I mean, it sounds exactly like a Hepcat, so tonal-wise, there's really no discovery in it. It basically performs and sounds tonally just like a Hepcat, and same component layout, same chips and everything as Hepcat. It's just in a Radio Shack box. Go. Oh, got the light on. It's a little buzzy, but that's what you get with a plastic case instead of aluminum case. There's no grounding the signal, but it works. Cool. Let's bypass. Engaged. Still sounds good. After, wow, what? Whew. Damn. 26 years and 6 months? Wow, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. Still sounds good though. Well, that's it. It still works great. Yeah. But thanks for watching. Thanks to all those patrons down there on that Patreon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's the only reason I'm able to do these videos is because of the support of all of those great people on Patreon. So if you like this video or any videos that I make, consider becoming a patron. It's easy to do. You just follow the link in the description. Become a patron. Okay. I'm Pedal Mom, otherwise known as Fran. And I'll be back here real soon with something else. Bye! Where I work. In the lab. Go berserk. In my lab. It's where I work. That's what you're watching. Friend love. That's what I'm doing. Working at the bench again. I'm Fran. Concussion, it really fucked up my brain function. I got some nixes, but they're Russian, not burros. Can't afford those tubes.